Tired of living day to day like everything's alright. Just waiting on that moment. Waiting on my moment.
Hi guys, this is Tech Boy here, and today we're gonna talk about Java data types. Now you might be saying, data types? What does that mean? Well, you're gonna learn right now. So the first thing that you're gonna want to do is open up your Eclipse. So remember you installed that from the last video. So here's my Eclipse. We're gonna go over and make a new project again. So you're gonna go to File, New, New. Where is it? Java project. New project, and then you're gonna click Java project, and you're gonna give the project a name. So we could call it like my first app, and then click next. And wait up, and everything looks fine, and click finish. And remember my decision and click yes. And let's just wait now. Cool. So now here's your application. So you want to enlarge that, so you click the little arrow right there, the drop down. Now you're gonna, this SRC, let's go over what this is. This stands for source, so this is where your source code goes. Okay, now this JRE system library, this is the library of jars. We call them jars, which is basically just a whole bunch of other Java classes that you use, that are used for utilities and other things for Java. And then you have the settings, which is the settings for this Java project. But you don't have to worry about these. Just under source, right click, because this is where your source code is going to go, remember? Source code is your actual Java code, the code you write. So you right click on, again, you right click on source, go to new, package. The package is just basically a folder, and we're going to call this app1. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to click finish. Then I'm going to right click on app1, the package, go to new, and class. Now a Java class, basically all Java programs are made out of one class or many classes. So here you can connect all of the classes together via the code itself. So right now we're going to create one class, and we're going to call it app1. Finish. Okay. So now don't worry about these things I have open here. I'm just going to close these out. Some open source things I was working on. But here is app1. Cool. So now we're going to learn about data types. So I hope you remember the main method, what we talked about last time. You have a Java class, and you have a main method in the class. So if you want to type in the main method, just type in main, just press Control spacebar, and that's a shortcut that lets you see the whole main method. So you'll see right now. See, it gives you this. You can click on it, and it creates a main method for you, so you don't have to type it out. But basically what we said in the last video was that everything that you run has to go through the main method in order to work. If your program doesn't go through the main method, then your program doesn't run. I think we remember that, right? So remember, we wrote system.out.println, system.out.println, double quotes, finish it with a semicolon. Now this means the system out, which means console. So this system that I'm on, so basically my operating system, write out to it and write a line. So that's what system.out means. System as in your current system, out meaning spit something out, so spit something out into the screen, and print a line, print ln, a line. So I'm gonna write hello world and then save it, and then I'm gonna run it. So to run it, remember you can right click inside the main method, run as Java application. And let's let that load. It's taking a little while. Let's see. There it is. It printed it out. Hello world. So I printed that out to my system, right? So that's a little review from the last video. But now we're gonna learn about data types, right? So let's start. There's actually, I believe 8 data types, and these are it. There's 2 types of data types. There's primitive data types and there's complex data types, which are also known as objects. Okay, primitive data types, there are 8 total of those, and complex data types, well, there are many that already exist, that are conventions, but you can make your own complex data type. So basically you can say that there's an infinite number of complex data types because you can create your own. But let's talk about the primitive data types first. First, let's talk about the Boolean data type. The Boolean data type has 2 values, either true or false. Why data type? Data type just means a type, a certain type of data. Okay, so these are called primitive. Primitive because these are built into Java. That's why they're called primitive, since they're like the first ones in the Java programming language. So they're primitive, they're the first ones, they're built in. Okay, so now we're talking about Boolean. So let's write in a Boolean data type here. Boolean, and then we give this data type a name. My Boolean, let's call it. Okay, you see that this is what this is a Boolean data type, and it can either be true or false. So I can set this equal to true, and then here I can print out my Boolean. So when you're printing out a variable, this is called a variable now. Okay, this is now a variable. When you want to print out a variable, you do not need the double quotes. You just put in the name of the variable in there. It's gonna print out the variable. So let's make this static for the purpose of this video. Okay, so what this is gonna do is print out true. It's gonna say true. So I'm gonna run that program through my shortcut keys, Control F11, and there we go. It says true. Now we can set it equal to false also. I'm gonna save that and run it, and now it's false. Okay, cool, right? So we can have multiple of those. You don't have to worry about why I'm writing static for this lesson right now, but I'll create another variable called my Boolean2, and the data type of this variable is a Boolean, right? This is just a variable name. Remember, a variable is anything that holds a data type. This is just happens to be a Boolean variable. Okay, I'm going to set this one equal to true. So now what I'm going to do is actually, what you see me doing here is I'm joining my own sentence plus the Boolean data type together. So it's going to be like one big word. Okay, so I'm going to say my Boolean This is its value, and then I'm gonna add the other one too. And /n means new line, so that's gonna appear in a new line. And I'm gonna say my boolean 2, and that is, put a space between it and add my boolean 2. I'm gonna save that, I'm gonna run it, and we can see my boolean is indeed type false, and then my boolean 2, well, my boolean 2 is indeed true. My boolean 2 is true. Cool. So that's the two values that a boolean variable can hold. A boolean data type is either true or false. Cool. Seems random, right? I mean, if you're new to programming, you're like, well, what's the whole point of this? You'll see later on. Just try to understand these things for now. That's how programming is always like. You try to make sense of it at first and it doesn't make sense, but you'll be fine. Just understand what you can understand for now, that booleans can either be true or false, and later on as we get more hands-on experience on more complex topics and complex lessons, you'll make sense of it all. So the next data type is called a byte. So the static byte, my byte, I'm gonna call it my byte. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it my byteable. I'm just gonna call it my byte equals, and this is gonna equal a number. Okay, so what does a byte, what's the point of a byte? It can hold up to 8 bits, an 8-bit integer. So we can try 1, that works. 10, that works. 100, that works. 1000 does not work because that's more than 8 bits. So this can only hold a small number basically. So that's a byte. And if you want to print it out, we can print that out too. We can add a new system.out print line. If you want to write system.out print line in a shortcut, just type sys out control space, and that finishes it for you. So I'm going to type in my byte, and I'm going to join sentences with the my byte variable. I'm going to run that. My byte is, that is the value, 100. Now the next type of character is called a char, which is basically just one character. So what is a character? A character is basically any keystroke in your keyboard, just one keystroke. That's a character. So I'm gonna write char, my char. Again, you can call this whatever your variable. I can call it that if I want, right? And I can say it's equal to s. Two, 3. Basically, this is what it is. You write a character in single quotes instead of double quotes. So you saw that I used double quotes in accident. That would not work. For chars, you need to put them around single quotes. So a char is a character, so say I choose a character P, uppercase, or the lowercase p. These are all characters. Or the number 1, it's a character. Or X, that's a character. This is not a character, it has to be a single character. So X is a single character, W is a single character. So that's that data type, that's the char data type, which stands for character. Just one character. Remember to use single quotes. And we can do another system.out print line for that one. And remember I called it this. So I'm going to copy that. I just wrote it that way to let you know that you can write it however you want. And put a space in between. And we're going to add it again. Save that and run it. There it is, W. That is the value of it, right? W. These are called variable names. Again, just recapping, these are variable names. This variable has a data type of a boolean. This variable has a data type of a byte. This variable has a data type of a char, aka a character. Now we're gonna go to short. Short takes 2's complement integer, so that basically means I believe that it can take negative numbers also, so negative integers. So let's see if that's true. Static short, and I'm just gonna call this one my short equals -9. Yep, and that works, right? So it can hold again a small number, but bigger than a byte. See, it can still hold that, it can still hold that, it can still hold that. Nope, not that. That's too big. It can hold about that many numbers. Also negatively, right? It can do it positively and negatively. Cool, so I'll just leave it at negative. And we'll add that also here. Sys out my short. Cool. So I'll run that, and indeed the value is -1000. Next we're gonna look at ints, which are integers, and we're just gonna look at those values. Static int, which is basically like a short, but it can hold a bigger number. So I'm gonna call this my int equals, and let's see how many numbers this one can hold. It can hold a bigger value, right? Still holding up, 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 still holding up. There it is. So it can hold about these many numbers, also in negative form, right? Cool. So let's print, oops. So let's print that one out. Cool. And we'll run that. And there it is, my int. Now we also have long, which is basically like an int, but holds even a bigger number. So we'll call this my long, which is equal to, and let's see how many numbers this one holds. Still holding up, right? Still holding up, still holding up. Whoa. So as you can see, these are actually more than that. It's more than the int. Should hold up more than the int. Let's get the max values. See, an int holds 32 bits, a long holds 64 bits. So let's see if see, there we go. This is too much, right? So trying to figure out what the max is here, guys, just to show you that long can hold more. There we go. Gosh, I don't know how to prove it right now, but basically if we were to get the exact values, long can hold a lot more values than my int. Okay guys, then we also have float. Float, basically you'll see what it holds right now. It basically holds decimal places. So float, we'll call it my float, which is equal to, and say we want 10.25. So this should work. I had to cast it for some reason, but basically this is a float. It can hold decimal places. If you see, this one can't do that. I wouldn't be able to add a cast. I would have to but basically a float can hold decimal places. And you have a double, which is just like a float. It can hold decimal places, but a lot more of them, a bigger number. So I'll just copy this, paste it, and call it my double. Cool, right? Okay, well, that's it for today, guys. If you want to test them out, you can also print these out. But basically, those are the primitive data types in Java. And I don't want to go too much into other details right now to just finish up this video. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.